I am a gypsy. And a lot of people say, why do you state that fact? It's because if I don't, somebody else will state it for me and bring that skeleton out of the closet.
Welcome to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jessen James.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Mind Over Money podcast. Now, this episode is actually a very special episode because recently I had the opportunity to interview a good friend and business partner of mine, Alfie Best, affectionately known as the Gypsy Billionaire. So I thought it was a private call with some of my clients that I interviewed him on. I invited some few people along, but I thought, you know what? The stuff that he was sharing about making money, mindset, resilience, I genuinely feel it's going to benefit the Mind Over Money podcast listeners. So I thought, let's get this episode uploaded just for you guys. So enjoy the episode. And remember, if you're new to the Mind Over Money podcast, welcome. Please remember to review us, like, subscribe, share us with someone that you care about. And if you're not new, welcome back. Don't forget as well to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Enjoy this interview with Alfie Best. It's going to blow your socks off, just like Alfie says. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get cracking. Let's get started. So the person I want to bring up is someone that I've had the pleasure of working with in the past. It's someone that I've had the pleasure of actually interviewing live on stage before as well. However, it's someone whose story that I think resonates with many, many people across the world, especially me. And the reason for that is very, very simple, because those of you who know me and followed my journey as well will know that I've also come from humble beginnings. Nobody handed me anything. I had to get out there and make things happen. And for many of you who follow me, you'll also know that I'm from a lovely part of the world called East London. Okay. So now, why is that relevant? Because the person that I'm about to bring up, actually, I may have well walked past his first ever shop, or one of his first ever shops, in Romford Road in Forest Gate, which was near my school. For those of you who know East London will know what I'm talking about. And not too long ago, I watched this man on Amazon Prime on his show, or should I call it show, documentary, The Gypsy Billionaire. And it was highlighting his journey and how his first shop was there in Romford Road and Forest Gate. And I already knew of Alfie and I knew him from before, but I didn't really know that much. And for then I was like, wow, this guy's had an amazing journey. If he can do it, we can all do it. And I think it makes sense for me to bring him to you guys so that we can talk about this stuff. All right. This man, I'm not going to steal his limelight because he's going to share his story in a second. But when you hear his story and you hear what he's had to overcome to get to where he is now, I genuinely feel when we see stuff like this, especially in a time where things are difficult right now, all of us gain faith, not hope. I believe hope is like wishing for things to happen, but we have faith that anything is possible. Give me a 1 down below if you agree that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? If you are ready, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the one and only Gypsy Billionaire himself, Alfie Best. Alfie, are you there, buddy?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I think you may have frozen slightly, but oh, there you go. You're back.
Well, it is cold here.
Alfie, thank you for joining us, my friend. How are you?
Every day's a great day. We don't have bad days, do we?
I knew he was going to say that. I just know. I don't know why I ask you anymore. I know you're going to say that, but it is. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to ask you a bit more about that later on. But thank you for joining us, my friend. I know we don't have long and time is precious and all that kind of stuff. So you're out in Monaco at the moment. For those of you who don't know, Alfie's over there now. So he's taken time out to spend it with us this evening on a Sunday. So I'm very grateful for you for doing that, my friend. So we're going to just jump straight into it if you don't mind. I know your background. I know your story. It's an incredible story. And I genuinely believe that stories are the gateway to people's hearts. And if people can understand your journey a bit more, I genuinely feel in this difficult time, it's going to give a lot of people more faith that it's possible to overcome adversity. So what's the quick version of your story? Because you've been through quite a lot, my friend. So if you can take us back to humble beginnings to what you do today, that would be awesome.
To be fair, and Jessen, thank you very, very much for the build-up, and that's
Pleasure.
Fantastic. But I've got to be honest with you, I don't see that much that's that exciting about my story, and I wish I could just throw a bomb and it explode and it become some massive celebration. But what I would say to you is there is nothing spectacular about what I've done. It's just been a work in progress. And I don't want to compare myself to anybody, because the man that I'm going to mention next, I couldn't even walk in his shoes. But what I can tell you is I could follow his path, and so could anybody on this channel. And that's Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos started a business that we all could do, which was sold books online. And it's become, one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, what I would say, I was looking at something, funny enough, at dinner today, and it was about Vodafone, which was the mobile phone shop that you used to walk by. I never dreamed that I would own that business. Never mind the business that we operate now, which is Wildcrest Park, which is Europe's largest residential park home operator. I am a gypsy, and a lot of people say, why do you state that fact? It's because if I don't, somebody else will state it for me and bring that skeleton out of the closet.
Yeah.
And I think we all have to accept where we were born, embrace that, and use those qualities to excel us. Were we poor? Poor beyond belief, because we were living on the side of the road. We were living off the land. I had hair coursing dogs, but that took me on a journey. My mother and father were wealthy in love and support that I could never dream that, and I wish I was half the father that my dad was. What I've been, I think, is a hard teacher to my children. But what I can also say to you is this: hopefully, please God, I've given them a legacy that they can take on further than I ever would. My son is doing that now. I went bankrupt at 20. I just didn't officially go bankrupt, but I was worse than bankrupt. But just to give you an idea, at that time, I had a £500,000 house. I had a van pitch in Forest Gate. I had a block of 5 flats in one block, and 4 industrial units in Sproulston Road. And overnight, interest rates went from 8% to 16% in 1989 and 1990. And I was 19 and 20 then. And the reason I'm bringing that up now is because that's what I think is going to happen in this recession that's coming. And never at any point in people's lives, including mine, do I believe that people need to come together for knowledge. Because the one thing that we can't do is learn from mistakes that haven't happened.
Yeah.
But we can learn from the mistakes of other people's past. And if we're brave enough to take them on board, and I take on board just a minute ago what you said about people engaging, pressing 1, pressing 2, that you're there.
Yeah.
It's about, even by pressing the 1 button on the computer, means that you're engaging in the conversation.
Yes.
Actions, that one small action could change your life, because you're listening with an action. I refer it to boxing. The twitch fiber from the mind that delivers to the hand becomes muscle memory. You know this because you've done a little bit of boxing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So by doing that, and this is the same as engaging on the computer, make sure you don't only listen, make sure you take an action. Engage in the conversation. Today, without me jumping right the way through it, we then come back from that dire straits time. I built up a business with 18 stores called Vodafone, sold them out. And today we then went into commercial property, then went into mobile home parks. And we now own and operate a company that's worth in excess of £1.2 billion and has an asset growth and a profit of 70 million every year.
Amazing.
Why do I state these facts so openly? Because actually most people that build wealth then want to hide. And they want to hide because of the criticism they get. Whereas what I say is I am from nowhere, but it doesn't mean to say that we all have to stay nowhere. We can go somewhere.
Absolutely. You're getting a lot of love in the chat box. There's a lot of congratulations for you, Alfie. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing. I know that's the short version.
which is
Origin.
Alfie, I'm gonna jump into something that I think is going to benefit everybody listening to this, because everybody looks at the exterior, the results. They look at the wealth, they look at the results, they look at all that kind of stuff. However, I'm a big believer in this. It doesn't matter what strategy you teach someone. It doesn't matter what skill set you give someone. Unless they've got the mindset to deploy it, they're not going to make it happen. So what are your top 3 mindset tips? You've just given us one, by the way, which is telling people to be part of the conversation, by the way. But what are your 3 mindset tips that you can give to people right now that have served you on your journey to serve other people right now if they're looking to make their first 6, 7, or even multiple 7 figures in life and in business?
3 of the tips that I'm going to give you, one of them I didn't actually do until later in life. If I would have done it earlier in life, I genuinely believe not only would it have excelled me sooner, it would have actually made my life easier on my journey. Number 1 is categorically believing in yourself when you have everybody around you, even family, telling you it will fail, telling you you have a great job, what are you giving it up for? Telling you, and most of the time, we ask the wrong people for the right advice, expecting to get the right answer. Well, 2 of those questions are right, but the first one's wrong because the person doesn't know what they're talking about. But the first thing is believe in yourself. The second is being around the people that already know the answer. And thirdly, and this is pretty well one of the most important things, the group and the section of people that you're in, make sure they're not trying to pull you down for their own self-gain. Because if you've got people that are trying to build you and you can build yourself, it doesn't matter which one of you become more successful. I can guarantee you will go a lot further just by seeing somebody else actually did it before you. That's the easy part. There's 3 brothers in Germany that have made in excess of £3 billion. How they've made £3 billion, and please all go and Google this, is they copied everybody else's business. But what they also did was brought on board the people that worked within those business. One of them was eBay. What I'm saying to you, and eBay ended up buying their company based in Germany. It's 3 brothers, no rocket science. And this all comes back down to one thing: believing in yourself, getting the right advice from the right person. But most importantly, when you're building your channel of success, you must have a group of people around you that are constantly telling you and listening.
So, Alfie, I want to dive into something that you just said, because you've got to a certain stage in your life, and respectfully, I've got to a certain stage in my life, but it wasn't easy to try to ignore the naysayers, especially the close ones. Because let's be perfectly honest, you just hit the nail on the head. Often, what we're trying to achieve in life, some of the people that we're trying to do it for, a partner, loved ones, kids, family, parents even, are the ones pulling us back at times. So what would you say to someone right now? Because there's so many people on this call who are on their journey looking to improve themselves, but they've probably got loved ones around them that are negative Nellies trying to hold them back. So what advice would you give them? Because we're a bit more sort of tough-skinned or hardened right now, but what would you say to someone else right now who are struggling to do that?
Look, let me say this. I'm not a trained speaker. I'm not a trained trainer. I'm not a trained businessman. I had to learn everything myself. So when I'm speaking, I'm not actually speaking from the heart. I'm speaking from the head and the heart. Let me tell you a very quick story, and I will try and keep it as quick as I can. My father is an amazing man. An amazing man. My biggest supporter, has helped me, and I wouldn't be the man I am today without my father. But after the 1990 crash, that happened, I was on my knees. I managed to scathe and get out of it after about a year and a half. And I managed to open up my first phone shop. And within best part of 6 months, I'd pulled together 40 or 50,000 pounds in profit, which is an amazing amount of money at the time.
Yeah.
So I went out and invested that into a shop in Ilford High Street opposite what was called the Island.
Oh, yeah.
And I paid £29,000 for it. There was a shop, a flat, and a workshop out the back, which was derelict. Now, my dad's a builder and a jack of all trades, can fix anything, do anything. So I turn up with my dad after I'd bought it out of the Driver Norris auction. And my dad says to me, who loves me with all of his heart, he says, "What the hell have you done? Are you some sort of an idiot? What have you bought this old shop for?" He said, "You've got next door an old chicken shop." He went, "And you're opposite." He said, "Where your windows are going to get broken in opposite the Island." And I looked to him and I went, I was like cut in half.
Mm.
Dad, I said, "It's an investment." I said, this is going to be worth 4 times what it's worth. I said, in 3 years. He went, "Go away." He went, "Look, let's get stuck in and try and get you out of trouble." And we refurbished it. I paid my dad a minimal amount to help me do it, but I had it rented for £15,000, 100 quid the shop, 100 quid the flat, 90 quid the workshop at the back, which was £290 a week, producing just over £15,000 a year. That shop I sold 3 years later for £150,000.
Wow.
So if I'd have listened to my dad, I would never have bought it. And let me tell you, if he'd have given me that advice one day before the auction, I'd have walked.
Wow.
My point is, this is a loving man, but I was asking the wrong man for the right advice.
Good point.
He never understood about investments. My dad's a working class man.
So what I'm hearing is there are people out there who might care about you, but they're not informed enough to make the kind of choices that you need to make for yourself. And it's better to ask people who actually have the answer than loved ones, so to speak.
100%. 100%. But if I can just add a little bit more to that as well. Sometimes it's people's own fear that they're trying to pass on to you because they love you. They don't want to see you make that mistake. So what they want to do is say to you, "Stay safe."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I always say to people that, is it possible that your loved one is trying to keep you safe because they wouldn't do what you need to do right now? And it's always the case. They haven't, especially parents. Like my dad's the same as your dad. Like, you know, he's a lovely guy, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, he's like, I mean, my dad still doesn't know what I bloody do for a living, you know, but the point is, it's like, he doesn't understand it, but he cares about me. And he's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do this?" So I don't go to him for that advice, you know, so it's about having the right group of people. So on that point, Alfie, obviously there's that saying, your network is your net worth and all that jazz, right? So here's my big bugbear. People out there, they hear it, they read it, they watch it on YouTube, they see it all the time, and they still hang around the same people expecting something to change. And as they say, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. So some of us are spending time with the wrong people, yet they still do it and they don't change. What are some of the ways that people, just everyday people, can start hanging around better people? Now, for example, I always say to people, look, sometimes you've got to pay for new friends. So what does that mean? It means investing. It means going to meetings, to networking, to hiring a mentor, you know, going into masterminds and all that kind of stuff. But what practical advice would you give someone right now if they need to upgrade their circle of influence?
Okay, real simple. When you send your kids to private school, if you're lucky enough and can afford to do it, let's be honest, right? And I never sent my kids to private school. A big mistake. You're not paying for a better education. You're paying for a better circle of people.
Very true.
You've only got to look at the last cabinet. Boris Johnson and every one of them was in his year in school, all from Oxford. Like, you couldn't write it. And that picture should tell us everything, that we are the people around us. Not could be, not would be, we are.
So what can we do then? What, I mean, apart from
Upgrade.
upgrade.
Listen, look, I really don't want this to come across condescending, but I am a
Say how it is.
I am a dirty pikey born on the side of the road. That's how it really is. Does it mean to say I'm going to stay there?
No.
No. Now, I could sit and roll off a number of people. And if you've all seen or watched the film The Gypsy Billionaire, which, by the way, I didn't want to make. And the reason I didn't want to make it, I'd had 3 or 4 good programs, like Undercover Boss, like How the Other Half Live, that came across well. And I thought to myself, hold on, quit while you're ahead. Don't, that's going to be a bombed out. Luckily, it wasn't. It got very good reviews. But in that, I've watched that film, and I've watched it a couple of times, and I've learned something. And I feel a bit embarrassed in saying this, but I've upgraded my friends. And the ones that are long-term friends, do you know something? They upgraded with me.
Yeah.
It's not about upgrading, because I think that sounds callous, but I think for the point of view on this program, we need to be hard hitting. And people need to realize it's not about being false and thinking, well, if you forgot your old friends. Well, sometimes I want to forget what it felt like having to take the dog's hair coursing across the field and kill 2 rabbits. Today, I want to dine in a 5-star restaurant. I'm not going to do that walking 2 lurcher dogs across the field. I know that's a bit surreal, but and hard. But the truth is, I don't want my family to do that. I don't want to do that.
No.
And neither does anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely bang on the money with that. And that's the thing. And if you're listening to this right now, everybody, please do me a favor. Just make a note to go and watch The Gypsy Billionaire on Amazon and see for yourself. It will just all unfold, and you'll see. It's a great watch. Okay. If you haven't done it already, go and do that. Now, Alfie, I'm going to dig a bit more into that, because being around the right network is important. And I'm just speaking from my own experience of being in the personal development industry for many years, as well as a lot of my clients who are watching this right now, who have been to courses, been to programs, been to events, watched lots of speakers and all that kind of stuff. You and I have aligned for a very good reason. And a reason for that is we share similar outlooks on certain things. And I'm a big believer in cut the BS and be honest with people about what it takes to get to the next level and beyond. And unfortunately, what we're seeing in the marketplace right now is a lot of hope being sold and not enough strategy and delivery and results. So what could you say to someone right now who wants to, I don't know, achieve more success, wants to maybe get a mentor, or maybe wants to invest or get a business partner or something like that? What do they need to look out for when they're looking to partner up with people to show them the way? Okay,
I did a small amount of schooling. But there were some people that I went to school with. I didn't have a lot of schooling, but I was periodically went into different schools.
Yeah.
And there were certain teachers that I just excelled with. And there were other teachers I just couldn't stand being in the same classroom. Like, I learned nothing, just wanted to play around, just wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
That's the same as the group of the people that you're in. And that's the same as the mentor. You've got to make sure you find the right mentor for you. If all of a sudden there's a synergy of a mind that comes together, then you're going to excel.
Yeah.
And having a mentor, I think everybody should have one. And that's not just me saying it. I think everybody should have a mentor, and everybody should be with people of like-minded ilk. And I'll summarize that in simple terms. If you like football, you're not going to go to a boxing match, are you? And if you like basketball, you're not going to go to the opera.
No.
So make sure you're sitting with people that love opera. Make sure you're sitting with people who love basketball, if that's what you love. If you want to do well, if you want to strive, and it's cheesy to say, do what you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. Well, that's right. That is absolutely right. But unfortunately, you've got to go through a lot of crap to get to that sometimes. And it's the people that are prepared to listen, emulate, but most importantly, they pursue it and do it.
Love that. Absolutely. So look, I think the key is like attracts like. And if you are of the mind that you want to go somewhere in life, but you understand there's some work to be done and no one's just going to give it to you on the plate, then go and hang around with people who are going to tell you that. And unfortunately, I've been on the speaker circuit for many years. Some of the people watching this will have seen me on stage loads of times. I'm not the most liked speaker on the stage by the other speakers. And let me explain why. Because I tell the truth. I'm not saying they tell lies. I'm just saying I'm just honest with people. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But if you think you're going to spend the weekend with me at a course or a program, I'm going to make you a millionaire overnight, then I'm not your guy, you know, because I don't believe in telling people that stuff. But I do believe success is possible and I do believe it's achievable. But when you get mentors, you mentioned everyone should have a mentor. If you listen to this, everyone, please write this down. Mentors collapse timeframes. Just write that down for a second, circle it on your page. Mentors collapse timeframes. What does that mean? You said it earlier on, Alfie. Learn from someone else's freaking mistakes. Why do you want to learn from your own? It's a lot easier, a lot cheaper, and a lot less painful to learn from somebody else. So with that in mind, I want to ask you a question that I think is going to intrigue everybody. What do we need to be worried about right now? And this is me learning as well, because I'm asking Alfie. I learn a lot from you as well, my friend. So I'm just asking everybody, on everyone's behalf right now. What do we need to be afraid of right now from your experience that's going on in the marketplace? And what can we do to make sure that we don't fall victim to what's going on in the economy right now?
Okay. There is one answer to that. One answer. Missing this great opportunity that is staring you in the face. I not only missed this opportunity, it nearly destroyed me. What is coming at us now is going to be the worst recession that I think I've ever seen in my life. And I've been through 3. The last 2, with the good grace of will, determination, but most importantly, past experience, we did really well at them. Really well. The first one, pretty well it was sink or swim. And I just want to summarize this.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite passionate and I want to really lead on, because the question that you've just asked is not about the recession, not about being prepared for it, which is absolutely the case. We do have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
But that isn't the question. The question is, what do we have to be afraid of? We have to be afraid that we miss this opportunity.
Right.
You are going to be buying stuff for 50% or less. How do I know that? Real simple. In the last recession that hurt me, which mine was 1989 and 1990, and a lot of people got burned in the 2008 to 2011 recession, and so on and so on. You don't mean to go back to dates, but the interest rate in 1989 went from 8% to 16%. So if you had a £1,000 mortgage, your mortgage went to £2,000 overnight, went up by 100%.
Blimey.
Interest rates now have gone up 500 to 600%. Now you're all sitting there thinking, what? That's not possible. Well, let me just show you. In the last 8 months, interest rates were 0.1%. They went to 0.25. That's 115% rise.
Yeah.
Went from 0.25% to 0.5%. That's another 100%. That's double again.
Yeah.
They went from 0.5% to 1%. That's another 100%. 1% to 2%, another 100%. From 2% to 4%, that's another 100%. From 4% to 5.25, that's 25%, give or take.
Yeah.
Now, where does that really leave in monetary terms? I had a meeting with my bank manager when I was living in London. And we sat down and we were having a coffee, and he said, well, how do you see things, Alfie? What do you think? I said, well, I told you. I said, before this happened, I said what I thought. He went, you were on the button. And he said, what gave you that knowledge? I said, being burned. I said, because it's fine. Your mum keep telling you, don't touch the fire. Don't touch the fire. You got to put your finger in there and get burned, and then you don't touch the fire.
Yeah.
Because the fire warms you. The fire makes you feel good. You sit around it. You're sitting around watching the TV, watching the fire. What's that got to do? That's what the government does. Makes you feel everything's good.
Mm.
Makes you feel, wow, we got this. We've got this. They've, at no other point, this government and the last government, Conservative and Labour,
Yeah,
have got this wrong. Today, I see Keir Starmer banning smoking. Now, I'm a non-smoker, but banning smokers outside in pub gardens.
yeah.
I think he's got a few more things to worry about than banning smoking.
Damn right.
To me, it was like, ugh. Anyway, going back to the meeting with the bank manager at Coutts, he had a client that was paying £3,700 a month for a mortgage. And I swear to you on my mother's life, he stated to me that that same mortgage within 6 months went to £37,500.
Jesus
Same
Christ.
mortgage, no extra borrowing. Now that will kill people. Now at the moment, that would kill anyone.
Yeah.
That would kill anyone.
So
Sorry, being prepared for the opportunity to come, not to save the business. That should be being worked on already.
yeah.
What you should be preparing for is the great opportunity. There are more millionaires and billionaires made in recessions than any other time in history. That's a fact. This is an opportunity for the wise. This is an opportunity for the brave. This is an opportunity for the well-rehearsed.
And the well-informed. And that's the thing. And I'm glad you've mentioned this, because I'm going to level up with everyone sitting at home. So many of us have been conditioned by society to think that the rich just get richer. And the rich people are arseholes, and they're mean, and they're this and they're that, and they're just taking advantage of the recession and all this kind of stuff. Do me a favor, please, everybody. Can you tune out from that nonsense? And let me explain why. Yes, the rich get richer because they're well informed, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making a profit. Alfie, when we started speaking earlier this year, you told me to my face, there's nothing wrong with people making a profit. There's nothing wrong with that. And sales is not dirty. Making money is not dirty. Why? Because we all have problems. I mean, I spend a lot of time with you. I know some of the stuff that you have to deal with and all that kind of stuff, but at least you're showing up to it with money in your pocket, and you can buy resources to solve problems for you. And people don't get that. So what I'm trying to say is if you're not informed, then you're not going to move forwards. And I know there are some things going on in the background right now that people need to be aware of, especially when it comes to investing, whether that's in businesses or real estate or anything like that right now, that they need to jump on the bandwagon and need to be aware of. So if you're listening to this right now, give me a 1 in the chat box if you want to actually know more about that. Give me a 1 if you'd like to learn more about that, please, about what to take advantage of. By the way, I'm talking to anyone right now who's already sitting on a bit of money or sitting on a bit of wealth or doing okay, to people who are struggling right now. I'm talking to every single one of you. There are ways for you to take advantage of the economy and what's going on. I mean, Alfie, I'm not going to go into details, but some of the stuff that you've shared with me very recently, some of the deals that you're in, some of the things that you're working on right now, some of the things that we're all working on together as a team.
Thank God for that, Jessen. I thought you were going to mention about that club we were in the other night.
No, the Blue Oyster Bar. No, I don't want to talk about that. No, we'll save that for a different call. Yeah, cut this out of the recording, everyone. No, I had you sweating there. No, but honestly, joking aside, when you showed me, I was like, are you pulling my leg? And he was like, no, Jess, this is what's happening. It's the first signs of what's to come. Now, I'm very grateful because obviously I know you. And let's be perfectly honest, anyone who thinks the old boy network doesn't exist and needs a slap, it still does. It's who you know. It's very, very important. And you're very privileged because you have deals coming to you, you have people coming to you. You're almost ahead of the curve when it comes to some of the things that are happening. You hear about things before it even happens in the news, in the media, and all that kind of stuff because of your connections. Now, I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your ass. I'm just trying to say that you are who you hang around. And I'm very grateful because I know you and I know there's things that I can come to you and ask your advice on. But there's people listening to this right now who don't. So what can they do about it? Well, before I explain what they can do about it, I want to ask you one more question, if that's okay.
Please.
Because there's some people listening to this who are either doing okay in business or are in a job, but they don't have any way of diversifying their income streams. And I know everyone says you should have multiple streams of income, and I get all of that, but often it's followed by a pitch. For me, the reason why people should have multiple streams of income is because if your current source of income gets sucked up or dried up, i.e. you're in a job right now and you lose it, or your business goes under, or whatever it might be, you are extremely exposed. So it's not about having lots of streams of income because you know it's about being rich and wealthy and all that kind of stuff. It's about protection. So if someone right now is struggling right now to make that leap and actually find the money to go and invest in, whether that's property or buy a new business or diversify their wealth, what would you say to them about getting resourceful? What advice would you give them to get resourceful? Because often we get stuck, we get limited by our resources, but not often people don't think about getting resourceful. What would you say to people right now?
All of my business life has been strived with stress. And I'll try to make this a short answer because I know that sometimes I just feel that I just have to give a full answer.
I don't think anyone's going to mind. Go for it.
The whole of my business life has been strived with stress. But stress is like an elastic band. If you don't stretch it, it'll become brittle.
Mm.
And the moment you try and stretch it, it'll just snap. And that's exactly what elastic band does. That's what stress does.
Yeah.
So if you don't stretch yourself now, your business or your other assets could just snap.
Mm.
So better to stretch yourself now. Always check it. Always check it. What you're doing.
Yeah.
I have a saying that I actually say to every member of my team. Everybody that knows me well enough, I say one thing to them, and I ask them, never trust me. I say to them, never trust me. Check for me.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're checking. Let's make sure we're getting this right. Too many people run around going, trust me, trust me, trust me. And when it goes wrong, well, I didn't know. Whereas wouldn't you all have been better off as a team?
Yeah.
A good group of people quantify and check in for each other, but knowledgeable people that are in it. And for me, if you do not stretch yourself now, your band may go bust later. It's that simple.
Those are very powerful words. If you're listening to that, let that sink in for a minute. I think too many people are just waiting for the life to happen. And there's a saying in life, if you don't move on life, life moves on you, right? So it's really important for people to take note of that, guys, you know. So, Alfie, we've got a little bit of announcement to make. And it's not about the club we went to the other day. We've
I was
already
going to say, please, no.
I've got photos. I'm going to share my screen. No,
yeah, but they're great photos.
They're great. They're great. Apart from the ones where we haven't got our clothes on, but we won't talk about that. So, but no, joking aside, we've got a special announcement to make. And give me a 1 in the chat box if you want to hear this special announcement, by the way. And if I don't get loads of ones, then I'm not going to announce it. Right. So, and
not showing you the picture either.
I'm not showing you. And if I get even more ones, I'm going to show you the pictures. Yeah, of course. All right, brilliant. There's lots of ones. Okay, so lots of people who are listening to this who are following me or part of my subscriptions or whatever it is, and obviously part of Alfie's network. Some of you will know about this. Some of you might not know about this. But Alfie, you've been involved in something for a little while now to course correct the financial futures of millions of people all across the world, which I believe is something that you don't need to do, but you want to do. And I think that's very kind of you to even want to do that. However, let's be perfectly honest, there's a win-win for everyone. There's opportunities for everyone. Like you always say to me, Jess, there's plenty out there for every single one of us. Now, the announcement from my side of it, which many people might not be aware of, is we've decided to go into business together, haven't we, buddy?
100%.
And I think for me, it's come at a right time for two reasons. Number one, give me a 2 in the chat box if you follow me and you understand that I retired from teaching workshops a while ago. Give me a 2 if you understand. If you remember, yeah, it's quite a few. Thank you, by the way, people who are saying congratulations. Appreciate it. Thank you. So those of you, just real quick, those of you who don't understand why I stepped away. Look, I've been on stage since 2015. I've trained tens of thousands of people all across the world. The reason I stepped away from it is my heart wasn't in it anymore. Why? Because unfortunately, the industry is saturated with lots of people promising people the world and delivering them a village if they're lucky. And I didn't want to have my name associated with that anymore. When you approached me and said, this is what we're doing with a few of the team, and Jess, I'd love to have you on board. Here's why. I'm going to be honest with you. Initially, I was like, I don't want to go back into that world. However, when you explained what was going on, and I'll explain this in a second to everyone listening, it reignited something in me. And that is, there are good people out there who want to help the people who want to be helped, but understand they have to do the work. No one's going to drag you through the process. So this is about taking personal responsibility. So I've joined you with the Best Wealth Network. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Best Wealth Network is, and when I say joined, I haven't like just joined up and all that kind of stuff. We're actual business partners in this with the team, which I'm super excited about. And it's a wealth movement where we're going to bring our skills respectfully, my skills, your skills, the team skills as a unit. And everyone who's part of our network, anyone who's one of the speakers, one of the trainers, one of the educators, part of our black book have all been personally vetted by the board, especially yourself. Now, what does that mean? Well, Alfie, I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, is you don't put your name next to anyone, right?
No.
Right. And I genuinely believe that there's a reason behind that, because you've got a lot to lose, right? So I think it's important that people get the right people or access to the right people. Now,
Can I
yeah, of course you can. Go for it.
I am not a seal, do-all, and knows what they're doing on every field. That's just not me and not possible and wouldn't be right. And I use the word group of people, not team, group of people, because Jessen is absolutely right. He's a shareholder in the business, right? Full-fledged shareholder. And we've brought together 5 people that we believe are the best in their business. Now, Jessen is much better at certain things than I am, and there's no question about that. And the other members of the team are better than me. I didn't want to be going it alone and going, oh, I'm Alfie Best. I've made several businesses successful. I can make you successful. Because the truth of the matter is, I had a lot of great people with me on those journeys. I didn't do it all by myself. I did it with other great people. Now, I just managed to stand on their shoulders and take the glory. That isn't going to be the case this time. The Best Wealth Network will be for everybody in that network. And hopefully we will have some real key people. Not hope, we have. And that will even grow even better. And I've got to be honest with you, I am privileged and super excited at some of the people that are on board and have already been on board as speakers. And those speakers, one of them still in the room today, has actually followed with that network.
Yeah.
I think Alia's still here from Aqua Architects. She's one of the world's leading architects that's on board with us. We had Scott Stemp come forward. And those types of caliber of people, you cannot get to come to a network.
No.
Because they're not network people. That's not what they do. They see themselves as people that are only in business for their professional, but they've come because I've said to them, hold on a minute, there are other people out there that need to be taken on their journey, but not taken, shown.
Yeah.
And what I would say to you is, we're making people accountable for themselves. If they're turning up, I want them to show up.
Yeah.
Not just turn up. I want them to show up and see, hold on, what are you now doing? I even have people message me with their own deals, which I like to review. Make sure that I can put my piece in. Is it something that I would do? And it will be a yes or a no.
Absolutely. And this is the key, is being around the right people. And this is the mission. And I'm going to explain that in a second. So there's a second reason as well why this came at a good time for me, is because I exited the training world, if you want to call it that, and turned my attention to my other business affairs. I was very upfront with you as well, Alfie. I was like, look, I'm looking to level up now, and I'm looking to partner with the right people. And with the investment opportunities that are coming on board, right? My bag's business. I love business acquisition. I love all that stuff. All right. I do property as well, but I'm not the property guy, if that makes any sense. But here's the thing. The opportunities that we're now going to be looking at together are going to categorically skyrocket my own personal wealth and people around me as well. So I'm aligned with this for the right reasons as well, but I also want to bring people along for the journey, and I know you do as well. Now, what I'm about to say next, everybody, please.
Can I just, Jessen, I'm really sorry, and I just want to say to everybody that's in the room, right, and this may come across quite condescending, I don't need to do this. I actually don't need to work another day in my life.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, and this is on my mother's life, one of the things that has pushed me to this, and I'll repeat that, this is on my mother's life.
Yeah.
What pushed me was actually the government. Actually putting people in a box, telling them that's the education you got and that's your lot. That's what you can do. And you can't do any better than that. And if you're not educated, you can't make it work. Well, that's not true. That's not true.
No.
And we're not here as a happy, clappy gang. We're here to show results. Judge me on the results of my own. Because did I make mistakes? I made a lot. But I only needed to get it right once. Luckily, I got it right a few times. And so can you. Sorry, I get passionate about that. But it's important that everybody knows, just because we're dealt a bad hand doesn't mean to say we have to stick with it.
110%. And just to right off the back of that, Alfie, what I'm about to say might sound a little bit cliche and a little bit crass, but I'm going to say it anyway. What's about to happen in the marketplace when it comes to investing, whether that's in businesses or assets, physical assets, properties, and all that kind of stuff, with the information that you know and the information that we have in our network, I genuinely believe anybody who's going to hang around with us, who's going to do the work, who's going to implement it, who's going to take advantage of these behind the scenes opportunities, I would like to say that we would be partly responsible for creating even more millionaires than ever when it comes to business and wealth creation. And I know it sounds a bit crash, but let me just explain this. One of your mentees who you actually shared this with me, and it's confidential, I don't want to give out their names, just that one deal that you are doing with them in central London right now is going to make them, and they're already doing well themselves, but it's going to make them an extra few million just off of one transaction. 5 million, sorry, 5. There's me saying downplaying it a few, is 5 million just off of one particular property deal in London that was completely accessible. For those of you who are going, oh, London is very expensive and stuff. No, with the strategy that you've managed to pull off, and that is game changing. And that is just one deal. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you're listening to this right now, you have to be around the right people. I know you've heard it all before, but please take my word for this. You've got to be around the right people. And I genuinely feel by me connecting with the team, Best Wealth, everybody, I think we're going to create something phenomenal in the marketplace. And we're looking for early adopters to get involved.
Thank you for listening to that episode. I hope you found it insightful. I'm always learning new things from Alfie, so I'm grateful that he was able to share those nuggets with you. Now, look, here's the thing. There's a great opportunity for you right now, if you're listening to this before the 19th of October, 2024. Because on the 19th of October, 2024, we are bringing Alfie Best to London at King's Cross, St. Pancras, in an incredible venue for you guys to learn all about wealth creation. Now, it's not a free event because Alfie doesn't believe in free events. Neither do I anymore. So I think it's really important that you understand that this is for you if you want to grow your wealth. So somewhere around the video, the show notes, you will find a link for you to get your hands on one of the few remaining tickets to the Best Wealth Network, something that we made reference to during the podcast episode. So if you'd like to grab a ticket, make sure you click on the link. They are super, super low in price. It's a small fraction for what you'll get out of it. Great opportunity to network, great opportunity to meet Alfie and the other speakers. I'm going to be there on stage as well, so I look forward to seeing you there. So if you want a ticket, make sure you go into the show notes and grab a ticket right now. Or you can email us on success@jessenjames.com. That's success@jessenjames.com and ask us for the link and we will hook you up. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, remember, if you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, leave us a review because reviews help us get to more audiences and help other people make decisions when it comes to listening to podcasts, and also sharing it helps the channel grow. So I appreciate you. Until next time, I wish you all the wealth, health, success, and happiness that you truly, truly deserve.
You've been listening to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jessen James. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on all the channels, links in the show notes. Please also leave a review and visit www.jessenjames.com to find more resources on how to create the life you deserve.